Hello again. I rather suspect that many viewers will have heard with astonishment or fury of the pub in Essex which had a load of gollywogs on display until the police turned up mop-handed and seized them. Why, this is political correctness gone mad. Dear old Golly, the friend of our childhood, who could possibly accuse anybody of a hate crime just for having a few gollies lying about the place? I give a link to a news item about this in the description to this video, and the gollies in question may be seen in the thumbnail. Of course, those who speak in this way about gollywogs are perhaps being a little ingenuous, as we all know. Whenever people in modern Britain make a fetish about displaying gollies, there is usually a little more than meets the eye, other than simply nostalgia for a vanished world of innocence. Let me give an example. In the Essex town of Loughton, there were, until a few years ago, no black people and very few Asians to be seen. The only people of colour were students attending Epping Forest College, which is near Debden Tube Station. Some of the students were a nuisance in the area. There were muggings and so on, always carried out by youths from East London who had come from outside the area. In a street called Hatfields, which links Rectory Lane with Newman's Lane, somebody hit upon a way of expressing his feelings about black people by hanging a gollywog in an upstairs window facing the street. When I say hanging, I mean that the golly was suspended from a noose, as though the victim of a lynching. I saw the occasional white person see this, correctly divine the meaning behind this display, and chuckle. A police officer called one day and asked the owner of the house to remove the golly, which he refused to do. Here then is a classic case of a golly being displayed, which has led to the intervention of the police. If one were to report this incident and leave out one or two key details, then it is exactly the sort of tale which would enrage certain people. Every single time that I've come across stories about gollywogs and the police, there have been hidden details which, when revealed, make the whole thing plain. There is always more to the case than is at first reported, and I have not the slightest doubt that this is also the case with the Essex pub. Let's face it, why would a pub have a collection of children's toys on display in this way? Has anybody ever visited a pub which has shelves of vintage teddy bears above the bar? A pub full of dolls, like a museum? No, neither have I. I think that deep down, whatever we say publicly, we all know that this is a case of somebody trying to wind folk up. Perhaps the aim is to create an environment which is unwelcoming to black people, or possibly the governor of the place wants to provoke the police for some reason. But the truth is that pubs with showcases of old toys are not at all a common sight. Was it really purely coincidental that gollies were chosen in this case rather than Barbie dolls or Rupert Bear? Seriously, I am as little in favour of political correctness as the next man, but surely we don't really believe that this case is just as it has been presented in the newspapers.